In the first century, the Holy Land was under the rule of the mighty Roman Empire. Trade routes by sea and land connected the peoples of the ancient world. I am Simon, a simple fisherman by the shore of the Sea of Galilee. My life was bound to the waves and care, the catch of the nets. Every day, Simon Peter went out to sea very early to make a living by casting nets. The Sea of Galilee became a familiar companion throughout his years of labor. Life in the fishing village of Bethsaida was simple, full of diligence and hope. Simon Peter did not yet know that God was preparing a special mission for him. Amid the peaceful scenery of the Sea of Galilee, a great turning point was drawing near. And on a special day, Jesus appeared by the lakeshore and began to draw the attention of the people. The meeting between Jesus and Simon Peter opened a new chapter in the history of salvation. Responding to Jesus' call, Simon Peter decided to leave behind his familiar boat to follow him. From then on, Simon Peter became one of the first disciples to accompany Jesus. Throughout Galilee, Jesus preached the good news and gathered a large crowd. Many people came to Jesus to listen to his teachings, full of hope and love. Simon Peter listened attentively and gradually recognized the special nature of the master he was following. Jesus healed the sick and brought hope to so many people. Jesus' miracles amazed the crowd and strengthened the faith of the disciples. Simon Peter not only witnessed the miracles, but also learned lessons about love and service. During the hours of silent prayer, Jesus prepared the disciples for the great missions ahead. The bond between teacher and disciple, Jesus and Simon Peter, grew closer day by day. In the region of Caesarea Philippi, Jesus posed an important question to the disciples. He wanted to know what the disciples truly thought about his identity and mission. It was Simon Peter who boldly proclaimed that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God. That proclamation became an important milestone in the history of the church. Jesus changed Simon's name to Peter, meaning rock. From here, Peter was prepared for the role of leading the community of disciples in the future. The evening shadows gradually fell over the Sea of Galilee, closing an important stage in the journey of following the Lord. Many trials still lay ahead, but Jesus was leading Peter to the mission that God had prepared for him. Jesus' group set out for the city of Jerusalem. This journey carried a historic mission. The people joyfully welcomed Jesus as he entered the holy city. In the final days, Jesus continued to teach at the temple in Jerusalem. The religious leaders grew increasingly worried about Jesus' influence over the people. A tense atmosphere enveloped Jerusalem before the events about to unfold. Jesus knew that his hour had drawn near. He prepared the disciples for the difficult journey ahead and the trials they would have to face. In these final moments, Jesus set an example of humility, washing the feet of the disciples himself down in the Garden of Gethsemane as Jesus prayed in silence. The soldiers entered the garden in the dark of night. They quickly arrested Jesus, who offered no resistance. The disciples were bewildered by what was happening, and gradually scattered into the darkness. In the courtyard of the palace, Peter went through the greatest trial of his life. Realizing his own weakness, Peter quietly departed in deep sorrow. Jesus was led through the streets of Jerusalem. On the journey toward Calvary. On Calvary, Jesus sacrificed his own life to complete the work of the redemption of humanity. Dusk fell, and the sun gradually disappeared below the horizon. From a distance, the disciples stood silently, lost in grief and reflection, after the painful events on Calvary. The city of Jerusalem sank into an atmosphere of quiet, stillness, and reflection. But God's plan of salvation did not stop at the cross and the tomb. On the third day, the disciples were astonished to discover the empty tomb. News of the empty tomb quickly reached Peter and the disciples. He began to reflect on the words Jesus had preached. He recalled the Lord saying that he would rise again after 3 days. Jesus had risen from the dead, bringing new hope to the disciples who were confused and afraid. The presence of the risen Jesus strengthened the faith and courage of those who followed him. Before returning to the Father, Jesus entrusted the disciples with the mission to continue preaching the good news to all nations. After Jesus ascended into heaven, the disciples continued to gather, to pray, and await the guidance of God. Over time, Peter began to take on the responsibility of leading the community of the first believers in Jerusalem. From a simple fisherman, Peter became the guide of the early church in the first days of its founding. While the community of believers kept growing, new trials and persecutions were also gradually appearing. On the road ahead,